In developing countries such as Ethiopia, mechanical transport is still limited, and as a consequence, people have to walk marathon distances just to carry out their essential activities. This problem is particularly evident in the remoter parts of Ethiopia, where getting from place to place is a challenge for the able-bodied, let alone those who are physically disabled. Cherinet is a victim of polio, and because of his difficulties of mobility, he has never been to school. His father, however, is now filled with new hope. He has heard from people in Finote Salam, a town about 10 kilometers away from his own village, that help might be available for his son. The Cheshire mobile team is in Finote Salam to help children like Cherinet. After the physiotherapist Kedani has examined Cherinet, he tells his father that there is hope, but that Cherinet will need surgery. Cheshire Services Ethiopia, or CSE for short, was founded in 1962 to support children with disabilities. From that small beginning, more than 17,000 young people, mainly polio survivors, have been rehabilitated. This has given them the opportunity to make their way in the world and to lead independent and fulfilling lives. CSE's mobile outreach program travels all over Ethiopia. By taking its services to the heart of the community, CSE benefits more than 6,500 young people every year. Children with less severe contractures can be rehabilitated by the mobile team on the spot, whereas those needing corrective surgery are admitted to the rehabilitation center at Menagesha, a few kilometers west of Addis Ababa. The rehabilitation center, which can admit 70 children at a time, is a microcosm of Ethiopia. In the 10-bedded recovery rooms, it is not unusual to have children from every region of the country. Rehabilitation usually takes 4 to 6 months, but in the severest cases, a child may stay up to a year or even longer. Most of the children come from very poor families, and when they arrive at Menagesha, they are often malnourished. It is therefore important to build them up both physically and mentally before they undergo surgery. Dejazmach Balcha, the Russian Red Cross hospital, is one of the organizations working closely with CSE. When surgery is over, the children are taken back to the rehabilitation center at Menagesha after just 2 or 3 days in hospital. The surgical procedure of cutting the tendons releases the contractures, but it is only through the plaster of Paris treatment, which takes 4 to 6 weeks, that the limbs finally become straight. After their operations, the children stay in the recovery room for 3 to 6 weeks. Then, the plaster is removed and it's time for the physiotherapists to teach the mobility skills needed to walk. Each child is provided with custom-made walking aids such as leg braces, crutches and orthopedic shoes. This is when the skills learned in therapy are reinforced, helping the children to adapt to their new lifestyle. The first steps are often incredibly difficult. It can take 30 minutes to walk the 27 meters from the recovery room to the dining room. But with determination and practice, the children quickly become more confident. Learning to walk is not enough. CSE firmly believes in a holistic approach to rehabilitation. At Menagesha, those who've not been able to go to school are taught the basics, and the others continue with their grades. The children also have dance therapy, arts and crafts, and vocational training. When the children have acquired the life skills necessary for independence and are comfortable with their newfound mobility, it is time for them to return to their families. After 4 to 6 months at Menagesha, going back to their communities can be a challenge for the children, especially if they were previously ostracized. In addition to enabling the children to walk within their capabilities, CSE covers educational expenses for bright young people whose families are unable to afford schooling. The orthopedic workshop at the Menagesha Rehabilitation Center produces calipers, crutches and other supporting aids. CSE has expanded to include a range of services, especially for those needing artificial limbs. Manufacturing tricycles for severely physically disabled adults is another of CSE's services. This mobility gives them dignity and enables them to be independent and to earn a living. Cheshire Services Ethiopia has extended its rehabilitation services to centres in Hawassa, Diredawa and Harar, thereby reaching people in nearby rural areas more easily. Aster Debebe and Tigist Fekadu are 2 polio victims who completed their secondary education but were unemployed. However, CSE's community-based rehabilitation program, CBR, based in Addis Ababa, provided them with hairdressing training and, on successful completion, with material support. They now have a thriving hairdressing business. Cheshire Services Ethiopia is dedicated to enhancing the potential of differently abled children, mainly victims of polio. Additionally, Cheshire Services Ethiopia also helps a variety of differently abled people. An example of this is a new partnership with Facing Africa. This project provides corrective surgery for survivors of Noma and other facial disfigurements. The work is undertaken by teams of international surgeons from Facing Africa, whilst CSE provides pre- and post-operative care at Menagesha. Cheshire Services Ethiopia relies largely on financial support from sponsors. The annual charity walk is our main local fundraising event. In Addis Ababa, this has been taking place in various forms for more than 40 years, and now Hawassa, Diredawa and Harar all have their own annual and highly effective fundraising walks. Never losing sight of our vision, and through unceasing efforts, Cheshire Services Ethiopia has touched the lives of thousands of children who previously had little hope. Cheshire Services Ethiopia has given these physically challenged young people a new life. Indeed, it is not uncommon to hear many former residents of Menagesha talk about being reborn. Nevertheless, there remains much more that could be done. Needs are ever increasing, but space and resources are limited. To meet people's needs and to open the door to all, the extension and development of our services depends on the generosity of people like you. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the sponsors and donors who have helped so much to make our vision a reality.